is about to combust. Like me is about to go into the big city. Like it's a kind of way to hobble into the cove of something eternal. And like it's a way to keep looking back and forward over and over and over and over to oh my god. I think I'm going to lose my senses and my mind and sanity too. The tunnel vision has to end. And this is the ending.
Vive por casa de Gemma.
Lo conoces para me un café,
La bufeta, bufeta, bufeta.
Je suis ici, à Berlin, au fond du monde. Aux États-Unis, chez moi, l'avenir c'est pas promis. Je sais pas si, quand j'y rentre, la Californie existera encore. Ou bien, l'enfer arrivera. Mais ici, maintenant et aujourd'hui, je m'en fiche. Je m'en fiche pas du tout. Je serai contente, ravie, si là, c'est tout. Moi, j'avais envie de voir la dissolution du cœur mondial. One day. And you can see it now. And you know you're there now. And you feel the wind in Berlin. And you think this is it. And you think, here I am. And you think, how do I refuse this now? And you wonder if it's too late to back out. But why should that matter? So you begin to make a plan. A plan of entry, a plan of attack. You feel out of sorts. More than you already did and should. And you come back to where you were before you told. The same thing on the other side. There's a word for that you just heard. For when the end matches the beginning, there's something different, but it's a repetition still, nonetheless. Sure. And you begin to understand that you'll have to find another way. And you thank the world, the little gods somewhere, some time soon. For knowing you weren't quite interested yet. You will be spared something. At least that's that. Or in so many words. And so now you look. Again. Thank God that one didn't work. And you wonder if you will have had to find it before the hour comes. You can see it all now. That's well. And now you know this isn't quite the way. But maybe another detour is fine. A locked door. You're not really sure how much conclusions you can take in an afternoon. A lot has already happened. It's weird when things come together. It's especially weird if They come together through someone else's destruction. Not that they feel the pain right now, but they could. And they do. And this is not the way either. Unless today is my unless. I'm already stared at. Why not make performance of it? And this could be it. And you won't know till you come upon it. And oh, there's hope. It looks like it might not be. It looks like you might be safe. You could try the gate. Let's find another way. Oh. Oh no. Door here. I'm not sure what I should point my phone at, but I suppose the right answer is nothing at all. I've never shown him any respect. Her, hardly any. When I find him, will I shame him? Will I make him an artifact? A screen to point mine at? Just a little thing? Make him my toy, the way everyone else could have been his. I don't know. I'd like to say I want to, but I feel that's not true. And I have hope I've already passed him. And didn't even know it because I was spending too much time thinking about him. Will a stone really be the real him? Is that even what I'm looking for, what I'm expecting? Some stones you can't even see a name. Although it's pretty likely it was there before. Pretty likely you can still see it, you just can't see what it says. Will I want it to mean more than it will? I'm not even connected. Not that anyone else is. Just up ahead there are real graves. Real people who lost some flowers that haven't wilted yet. Is there something wrong about this place? Or about being here? Is there something wrong about talking to myself? Only meters away from a real person. We can't hear you, but maybe they can hear that you're there. Is this the way you've always treated him and her? feel self-fulfilling about, is it wrong to walk up on the grass, or is that what it's made for? You've never been to a real graveyard, have you? Never for a real reason. There's a pretty graveyard, beautiful graveyard by your house that might be destroyed by now in California. And you never went there because you ever knew someone who went there. And no one you know has ever been there. It feels like an old thing. I guess here it is, an old thing to be buried. It's strange to think that a new one was buried yesterday. But maybe the people over there that I shouldn't be speaking about. Maybe that's why the flowers are so fresh. Maybe that's why they can't hear me through here, so I'm not doing real harm or exploiting, because I still have grief, and grief is still loud and good for them. And now he's moved on, and you think maybe he was just a groundskeeper. Maybe that's why he had water. Maybe if he's just a groundskeeper, maybe he was watering. Maybe the flowers weren't fresh after all. Maybe it really, truly is an old thing to be buried, and that's that. Maybe this place hasn't been touched in forever. Maybe it's time to move on. I thought I walked through the entire property and I didn't find him. But then I realized there was another section through a gate in the back. And that's the section where all the bigger graves are. All of the historical figures, all of the important people. The important people die in the back. As soon as I walked in to the section for the important people, I met Hegel. I'd never met him before. Or, I guess he hadn't met me before. I'd met him. I'd seen him. I'd known him. And as I rounded the corner, I saw Fichte, who I haven't known as well, but who has not known me equally well. So I had my introduction with him. And around the next bend, I finally met Brecht. It didn't cross my mind that I hadn't met him yet, or that he even hadn't met me yet, because I'd been through the knowing part with him for quite some time. And I thought I met him at his place of work, at his theater last week. And I thought he met me there because it was actually an introduction, because we were both actually there. But I think I only met his friends then. And they met me too, but it wasn't the same thing as him meeting me. But today he did. And next to him, his wife, who I didn't know had existed, but I learned in the same moment that she met me. And unlike Hegel and Fichte and Brecht, we met each other at the same time. And I kept walking through huge pieces of architecture, monuments and crypts adorned with gold and murals and angelic art. And I kept walking, and I didn't see him. And I wondered if he would be in the one corner of this back half of the graveyard for important people that I hadn't yet covered. It was the only corner left. And it was a big corner, but it was still only a small amount of space compared to where I had already walked. I'd walked through most of it already, and I walked through that corner, and I didn't find him. And it had crossed my mind that if I didn't find him, maybe I would have to look it up on a directory or another thing like that. And I didn't like that idea, because I wanted to find him. I wanted him to want to see me. So I went through the whole place again. Almost the whole place. Not really the whole place, but I went back to where Brecht and Hegel and Fichte were, because I figured Muller would be important enough to sit with the real people who deserve to be remembered, who have beautiful graves. They're not really even that big, the three of them, but you know that's Hegel's grave when you see it. I probably did. And I thought how Muller probably would hate it that his grave would be so authoritative, even if it wasn't big. I thought he would hate to have a grave even like Hegel's, which is pretty modest, but it's still Hegel's. And I went back through again, and I still didn't find him. And well, as much as I didn't want it, I guess any kind of failure is a half-decent way to honor his life. In about a 7 by 7 foot square, it's hard to know exactly where a spot is, but I think I might be sitting on top of him. I think I might be copying his body. I might be imitating his posture right now, because I want to choose to believe that where his stone is where he is actually buried. I know I'm sitting up, so maybe that means I can't be sitting like he is, but I think maybe he is sitting up down there too. Why wouldn't he be? He could be. I feel very happy. I feel very happy to be here. To meet him. We're both here at the same time. Everywhere else in the city I've been, I've wondered if it was somewhere he had also been. And some of them I'm sort of sure. I mean, I know he was in the square in Alexanderplatz, and I was there, but I don't think I didn't stand anywhere near where he stood when he gave his speech to the crowd. In 89 it might have been. And I wondered everywhere else, had he been here? But I think this is the only one of which I can be completely sure. There's no doubt. There's no doubt that he's been here. And that's because he's here now. We're both here. I'm here. After what a pain in the ass it was to find this one, I didn't really think I'd feel anything. Because I'd already thought so much about it in every way, and I'd thought about what I'd say right now, and this is my life. This is the rest of my life. I'm in love with people. I hurt people. This is where I am. I'm here. I don't feel like showing you his gravestone. Not because he's special or it shouldn't be seen. Just because I don't feel like it. I felt like it would be wrong to touch it. So I did. It looks like it should be made of wood, but obviously it's not. It's rusted. It only has his name on it. And the name is in almost the same material and the same color as the stone, yet you can barely see it. It's not faded, it's just inside the stone. And most of all, it doesn't look or feel like Hegel's grave. It doesn't look or feel like a grave for Brecht's wife. It's taller than all the graves of the useless people in the front. The people who shouldn't be remembered, but it's plain. Maybe that's why I didn't see it. Maybe I was expecting it to feel like Hegel's grave. Even though it's much taller than Hegel's grave. It's funny. It's not the same. Or maybe that's not why. Maybe he just doesn't want to be found. Maybe it's personal. Maybe he lets other people find him, or maybe it's not. I have a feeling with him it could be both. I think he hates me personally, but I think he also feels that way about everyone. But it doesn't make it universal. It is personal. Because it's personal if you know it. And I'm learning it. I've been learning it for a long time. And I think if he didn't want me to find him, I'm glad that I did. Because I think it's my job to disrespect him as much as I can. The same disrespect with touching his grave, the same disrespect with sitting here on top of him on the grass on his land as people walk by, talking to myself. I want to disgrace him because I think that's the only thing he could ever want from me, and I think he wants it so badly, and I want it too. I want to sit over him and think about how much might be left of him down there and how much might be left of me up here. This whole thing is me. This whole thing is me.
Nächste Station, Friedrichstraße. Übergang zu den S-Bahn-Linien 1, 2, 25, 26, zur U-Bahn-Linie 6 und zum Regionalverkehr.
The area already feels different. Lonelier. know I'm gonna get skin cancer eventually. And I think it might happen in Berlin this summer. Because I've been too careless to protect myself. Haha. Pretty good line. When I asked my mom if she would agree that thing I have now, although it won't blow up anytime soon, will probably be the thing that kills me in the end, or will probably cause it or help it, or it's one of the things that's just always possible, always a risk. And she said something like, I mean, maybe, I guess you could say that. And I said, okay, because it's good to understand. It's hot. This one is totally different. It's kind of exactly what I imagined it would be, which is why it's a big surprise. I'm not in the city anymore. I'm not in this city, I'm only in a city. But it's quiet. And there's no one here. Maybe I just haven't seen them yet. I don't know how big this place is. I have as little idea as I did about the size of the first one. But maybe there really is just no one here. Maybe there's just no one paying their respects today at this one. There was a pretty big number of people coming and going as I was at the first one. His one. And I'm not particularly prolific on any kind of German history, but I recognized a lot of the names at the last one. And I don't know any of these names. And maybe that's why I'm who's here. I feel conflicted about how I should treat this place. Should it be just like the last one? Wander and see everything and only finish the last moment? I don't know. I have this urge to make it different. To just find the directory and just find her. I mean, with him I had some confidence that, well, started with some confidence that I'd find him so I could just walk. But her, I'm not even sure if she's still here. There's articles on the internet that say she is, and there's others that say nobody paid the money for the lot, so they bulldozed it. And yet, that's a bad word. And still, on the other hand, I saw a picture online of what her gravestone looks like if it's gone, and it wasn't the case with Heiner. I didn't know what I was looking for, but now I know what I'm looking for. And when I walked right into the gate at first, I saw a stone that had that shape. And I'm looking at it now from the back, and I would have thought that, I think maybe hers is a little taller than this one, but this looks like it might be a pretty small graveyard. And so if it's here, this might be it. But it's not. There's a different name on there, and it's not hers. But now I see that this place is a little bigger. There are more stones down the way, and there's someone else here too, actually. So maybe it's not that tragically unique. I was wrong. Something big is happening here. A funeral or a memorial or something. Do funerals happen at the graveyard? And there's a really great bird here. What the fuck are you? You're not very good at flying. Are you German? Are you only German? Do you know that Do you know that I think you're the most important thing here? And there's two of you. There's a lot more names here where the second date is in the last 6 months than there were at the other place. I didn't think people were still dying these days. There's one with maybe no name. It looked like it maybe had dates on top, but I don't know if I didn't really look close enough to see a name. And I know that that isn't her, but kind of makes it her by default. I kind of think it would be fine if I didn't find her today. Or if I found her just before I had to go. Just before my time ran out. And so I wouldn't get to sit with her, but then I would have to come back. I think it'd be fine if I don't finish looking today, if I don't find her now. Just as long as I find her eventually. Huh. Well, I guess there are some names here. Wow. Adolf Endler. I thought you would have been in the other one. Really, it should be so easy to find. You know, the pictures that I saw, that I have to admit with a little shame I just looked at again. It's green. A green stone. Completely green. All of it green. How could you miss something like that? Just all green. Some of the pictures online aren't green. They're just gray. Just clean stone. And I hope that those are pictures from before. From before it was green. I hope that they didn't clean it. For a lot of reasons, but mostly because if it's ever been cleaned, then I don't know what I'm looking for. Is it clean season? Or is it like the photos? This one is so spread out. That's why I thought it was small at first. It's actually gigantic. I'm not going to find it today. And now I'm walking through rows and rows of gray. They're not quite the shape that I think I see in the picture, but any of them could be. And I wonder if I'll be buried here. If I end up living here, which I might. I might. I really might. And it's not like it's not like me being here is really about my own death. That's not really what I'm scared of. I mean, I am scared of that, but I'm scared of 1,000 things first and more and worse. So the real people are starting to follow me. I should stop. I think I might have done it. I think I'm here. Because I see a gravestone that is less green than the picture, but still green. And there's a rock sitting on top of it. And there was a rock sitting on top of it in the picture. I can't remember if it's the same kind of rock, but I think it could be. And if it's less green than it was in the picture, but the same rock is there, and if it is her, and if it is the same stone as the picture, then how long has that rock been here for? I guess nobody really goes about taking rocks off of tombstones, but still, I mean, I'm sure plenty of these stones have had things on them before, and, you know, things don't stay. Anyway, I'm kind of standing behind it, and the background where I am does look different than the pictures. Although now I can't really remember the picture, even though I saw it like 15 minutes ago. More than I hope that this is her, I just hope there's a bench here. So it's the next day. And I want to say something about it. I had the feeling, I expected that I would record much more of the real thing yesterday than I did with the first grave. Because it's different. And because nobody ever really cared about showing her a particular kind of respect, so it'd be disingenuous if I did. And really, in a way, putting her on camera would be the thing that never really happened anyway. That maybe the way to honor her while pretending to desecrate her, or rather, to desecrate her while pretending to honor her, would be just to expose her. To show her, to look at her through two different glasses. And in really the same way that I couldn't film the first grave head on, and in the same way that that wasn't really about any kind of respect or duty, it didn't feel inappropriate to not point it directly at him. I just didn't really want to. I can do whatever I want, you know? In really the same way as that. When I got there, I didn't really feel like there was anything to record, even of myself. And I think maybe that was, if I'm being honest, that was maybe a little morally motivated. I think maybe I did have a feeling that the right thing to do, more right for me than right for her, more about honoring my state of mind and experience than anything dead about her. But in that way, I felt like I didn't really want to document any of the actual thing. Because I didn't really want to have the clearest memory of exactly what I thought about and what I looked at and what I said. And at first that felt like maybe I was making a mistake. Maybe I would regret not having something to show for it, having something to look back at and see the actual thing to show someone else when they watch this. But that was kind of why, as soon as I put up that thought to myself, then it was obvious that I wouldn't record anything, because if that was something to regret, then I want to regret that thing. I want it to be incomplete. I want there to be a reason to come back. And obviously I'm back now, and that's not really what I mean. Although that's another part of it too. It was more that I want a reason to come back at a totally different time, back to the country, back to the city, after I leave. I don't want to feel satisfied by the time I get on a plane, you know? Because, I mean, obviously, it's the easy thing, the blah, 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 the poetic thing to say, you know, is, well, it doesn't matter, it'll never be complete, so I don't have to worry about feeling satisfied. And, yeah, okay, like, fine. But I think it's a little more complicated than just the fantasy poetic thing. Like, you can feel like you achieved something, you know? It's funny, even now that I know where I'm going, I still see other stones with the same last name, and a little less often the same first name. Still, like, you know, there's still a kind of recognizing of, okay, that's it, even though I know where I'm going, I know what is it, but, you know, it's, most things don't really end up being real anyway, you know, ever. I'm not really sure what that could mean, though. Anyway. So, it's starting to rain a little. I hope it rains a lot. That'd be good. Be really good. Really good. I'm getting close to the place now, and when I was there yesterday, without my camera, without my confidence, I just kind of felt compelled to draw. And I used to hate drawing. Now I don't really have a feeling about it. I just don't do it. But I thought if I wasn't going to have a real record of where I'd been and what I said and what I thought, I could at least have a pretend one. So I drew her. And it's a pretty simple shape, so, you know, it's fine. The stone, I mean, you know, and it felt good to just draw, like, that's, anyway, what I can say about it before I get there, oh god, there's people, what I can say about it before I get there is that it's a very small place. It's actually very closed off. I would call it like a canopy. There's an entrance into it, and it's not totally covered, and, you know, it's actually not even a little covered, but it is a cage. Not that she's in jail. Jail isn't the only way to be behind bars, you know, and neither is all the ways of being behind bars repressive. You know, a cage could be protection, it can hold whatever, but she is a secret still. And there are other people with her, and there's no bench, which is kind of a good thing. So I had to sit in the dirt, and I got a lot of bug bites that definitely weren't mosquitoes. So that's... maybe I'm dying. I am. And I sat there and I drew her. And on a piece of paper, I wrote down, next to my drawing, I wrote down the phrase that I thought if I was making the film, then I would have said aloud. And I did, actually. I can't really figure out where I sit between the just embracing the fact that this is dumb and idealistic and, you know, I can be an artist and I can be a historian, but my interest in all of this is not really honest to either of those ways of being, you know? I'm too attached. It's just history. It's just writing, but it feels like a completed secret. And it feels like it's about me, and that's stupid. But I'm going to... I guess for now I'm going to make it stupid. I think that's a new conclusion I've come to. Anyway, I talked out loud to myself, and it actually was probably good that I wasn't recording and that I knew I wouldn't remember anything. Because then I just talked. And I think I'm starting to find the line between the parts of this that are about history and preservation of the art forms, and how much of this is about performance and the desire I have to tell this story and tell all of it and share it with people because it deserves to be a story. And then also how much of it, the part of it that is something else, that is selfish and personal and journalistic and therapeutic, which I know there's not really anything essentially wrong with that, but I'll feel more comfortable about it if I'm better at recognizing it. Because, you know, I can't really ignore the gendered dimension of it. I mean, yeah, so anyway, the thing I wrote next to my drawing was the question that I think I've been trying to ask her, and it's like the most simple one, which is why it just didn't feel like it was the right one. It felt, you know, like hidden difference, weird and unfair, and not honestly historical or creative about the way that I'm making this about myself and my own confusion and hatred of everything. And the question, as you know, was, what's going to happen to people like you and me? One more thing, and no, I haven't figured out yet how much of this I'm going to document and what I'm going to record, but what I would like to say is something about why I'm back, maybe, if that's okay. I had a time limit the first time yesterday, and it was, you know, it was pretty quick. It was about enough time to finish my drawing, although maybe I'll keep working on it too. And so I knew that there was something a little urgent about it, and I had somewhere to be. And to be fair, the somewhere I had to be was, really related anyway, because now everything I do is related to this pretty much. But it was a little bit of a not really like a picnic sort of thing. And so I thought, well, this is, I'd like to have another opportunity to just, come here and investigate my feelings. But I also thought maybe that wouldn't be a good idea, because maybe it would be appropriate for the time to be short. And that sounds like really metaphorical in a silly way, and I don't really mean that, although it's true. But I also mean that this is all something incomplete, and I'm only here for a short while, a short time, and in the same way that I don't want to feel like I've gotten everything, then maybe it would be good to remember it as being, not quite as much time and as thorough as would be totally ideal. So maybe it's fine that it was short. And also I thought, maybe if I do return, I'll realize that actually the first time was enough. The second time coming, it's the first time, maybe it'd be fine. What I'm trying to say is I was worried that regardless of how much time it already was, or it will be the second time, what if just the fact of the second time is, less impactful? And I thought about that of, am I expecting this to be a spiritual experience? I mean, it's just a place. And so maybe it's not about the amount of time, it's just, I guess novelty. And maybe I would be disappointed if it stopped. If I got to experience it as something that wasn't, powerful and shocking and new. But then finally, and this is what I wanted to say about why I'm back. Finally, I realized that actually, if that did happen, that would be a pretty good thing. Because I have always been a little uncomfortable with how personal this feels to me, even though it's not that personal. I mean, sure, it is everything. Art is personal. Everything, I appropriate everything around me. That's just the thing, But I've still, and maybe it is completely a gender thing, but I've always been uncomfortable with how obsessed I am with the idea of this project and of looking into this history and of a dead woman who spent her entire life just, and didn't know me in any way, There were more than 6 degrees of separation away, that kind of thing. And so maybe the crazy, close activation I feel about this story and this history is a dead end. Because I don't, I spent at least a couple of months of dedicated work to try to uncover it. And we both know I didn't, which, was actually fine. I could try to uncover it and then still it not even be my goal to succeed. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, it could be God. Fuck. It could be that there is nothing to figure out. That, I think some part of me is expecting that after enough time of thinking about this and working on this project and this mission, that at some point, even if it, it doesn't have to be a lightning bolt moment, that, even my deluded self knows that is, that's not what I'm looking for, but maybe somehow slowly over time, by putting pieces together and checking them back on each other and looking backwards, I'll come to a good articulable idea of at the heart of why I care as much as I do, why this work is everything for me. And I think a lot of the continued work I do into this topic, into this project, is partially motivated by expecting that at some point, even if it's, if it takes me my entire life to totally get a handle on what my place is in this whole thing, then that's fine, just as long as I'm working towards it. I don't really care. But now I'm also worried that there's nothing, that I'm not working towards anything. I mean, I'm doing the project, and that, but maybe it's possible that the answer to why is there's no good reason. Maybe there's not a good way to say, God, why do you care? Like, everyone should care, but I care in, obviously a bigger way. Like, this I'm obsessed. This consumes me. And maybe there's not a word for it, I don't even know what that was. But the point is, and I've forgotten something, but the point is, I am here because I want to look at my own discomfort with how sensational this is to me, when it is not sensational at all. And I think what can be part of that is I'd like to get bored of it, Like, coming here and it not being special sounds great. I'd like this to just be a place, because it's what it is. And it's a powerful place and whatever, blah, 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 blah. But, and it's still, I don't want it to stop being spiritual and dramatic, but I also want, and maybe this is actually still just as selfish, because maybe I just want to know them like they knew each other, and then, God, this becomes a weird pervert voyeur thing, which I wrote about, It's kind of interesting. Yeah, so, if it loses a little bit of its magic, then I think that's a good thing, I think I want to figure out how it can become ordinary. I think there's something, there's something beautiful and whatever. This isn't a speech. And I got a little more distracted this time. I feel more like myself. Like, I keep forgetting that I'm sitting here. I mean, I just did paperwork that is related to her, sure, but you know, it's like, I told myself that I was coming here to write, so that I could just sit here and write. And you know, actually, it's interesting. I've thought a lot about what it is like to sit next to someone you love and write. Like that, and it is kind of like a boredom and a forgetting that you want, and then when you have it, it doesn't feel like enough, I think. That's probably what I would say. So I think, this is what I wanted. I didn't write much. I think I underestimated how much time I had even this time, which is good. And I have a little more time anyway, but I think it's good that I'm not done, not even today, which is good because I'm planning to come back in 2 days. And that might be the last time I come here. So then I'll have to decide what to do about it, because I don't think I'm gonna, there's not much more to make about it today, which is good. But anyway, he said that she was full of energy. We would probably just call it mania now, but, and they could have called it that. It's not like it was that long ago, but it was. Anyway, yeah, he said that she was just like, I forget the word, it's a German word, that she was like lit up, like just on fire, like creatively, like there was a motor. Well, and there's another word that he used to describe the way that she made him feel as a worker, as a writer, as an artist, as a playwright, maybe as a husband too, I don't know. And this is the part where it just starts to lose any form and just kind of becomes a metaphor for anything you want, I can talk about their marriage, then I can say, what, am I going to fall in love one day? But that's like not really what it's about, unless you just want it to be about everything, anyway. I feel the bugs like creeping on me. There's lots of, there's gnats, but there's also other things that bite. I don't think gnats bite, right? Yeah. But honestly, I don't care. Oh wow, there's a lot of gnats, yeah. But it's what I'm here for. I want them to bite me. I wanna whatever, break out, yeah. Anyway, it's starting to become ordinary, and I don't like it. And that's why I like it. That's why I'm glad, Yeah, I told myself I was going to write. I didn't really have anything particular to write. I have a lot of things to write. I have a lot of stuff that's in progress, but none of it is really quite ready to continue in this moment, tomorrow, and then when I'm here after tomorrow, that would, hopefully. But I think even my plan to just work was too much structure. And instead I'm just, I'm here. And so, she's not, no, well, anyway, God, fuck. What am I doing here? That's bad. So, I think I'm getting used to it and used to her, you know, like I'm just here. And I'm not the most inspired I've ever been. Partially I'm just filled with so much influence and energy that, you know, it doesn't mean anything. This is like, you know, I've not that I've always wanted to be here, but, you know, I planned to come here, and there was a long time where I'd never been here, and now I am someone who has been here before, and who is here right now, and who will be here again, at least once more. Well, I mean, at least once more soon, definitely once more. This is really weird. I'm gonna go soon. And this has just turned into, the plan was not originally to record every single thought. Well, yeah, actually it kind of was. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. This is it. I'm doing it. Anyway. So, shit. This is it. Like, this is it. God. I think I'm coming upon something great. And I don't think I want to recognize it. I don't think the me really even wants to know it, you know? Okay, what? Fuck it, I can do whatever I want. There are no rules. That's her. This place is starting to feel and look like that place.
Bahnhof, Waldmeisterstraße, Gexstraße. Bitte Vorsicht, Ausstieg auf der Fahrbahn. Please be careful. Exits onto the road.
It's 2 days later, and it's the third day. And I'm taking an entirely different way there this time. And I'm really glad that it rained. I'm not sure I was right before. I don't think this place is actually that lonely. In fact, I'm starting to think that maybe the first grave is the loneliest. Because first grave's in the middle of the city. And it's next to a bunch of people that he doesn't know. And kind of most ironically, it's next to, not immediately next to, but still really next to, his hero who never really gave him the time of day. So I think between the rows and rows of senators and presidents and economists and, yeah, sure, artists and philosophers too, he is just really kind of lost. And God, it took me like 4 years to find him. You know, with her, at least it only took 3. That's progress. Maybe the next dead person that I decide is only an object for me and my obsession will take just 2. And after that, I will be really seasoned at narcissism and mania. Then I'll be able to do it in just a year alone. And then finally, the time after that, it'll take no time at all, because that weird, not real, made up figment of someone's imagination will be me. And the imagination won't be mine. Hey, that was kind of good. But I don't think it's lonely here, because I think there's more life here than there is in the real city. There's actual air here. It rains here. And then it's sunny afterwards here. Detours happen here. Distractions and side things happen here. I know all that happens in the city around the first grave too, but is that really relevant? The point is, they happen here. I don't think I've ever heard of roosters in Mita. I entered on some opposite side with an unearned level of confidence that I'd be able to find her easily every time. And as I was trying to rediscover my surroundings, once I realized that it would not just be easy and I would actually have to remember things, I remembered something else, which is that the place where her stone is not the place where she is buried. She is buried somewhere in this graveyard, but when she was buried at first in 1966, nobody paid the lease for her grave. I never really thought about the fact that graves cost money, but clearly I'm not the only one who didn't think about that if it was never paid, and it wasn't ever paid. So it stayed there for a while, just, a grave debt. But eventually, and I say eventually because I don't know when, eventually, whoever was waiting for the money got tired of waiting. And someone flattened her grave, just bulldozed it, right over the stone, and it was leveled. And so it's not that anyone dug her up, at least not yet, but they just decided that the thing that hadn't been paid for was not her chance to be buried there, but just my chance to know it. That it was the acknowledgement that cost money that no one gave. So when I visit her, when I've been visiting her and sitting with her, I am sitting with her new stone that they put up eventually at some point in the 90s to commemorate her, but I know that it was not put up over her actual burial site. So somewhere in this graveyard, she is buried. But I don't know where it is. I'm sure some people do know, but I couldn't find out yet. Maybe next time I'll know better. So really, I'm as confident that she's buried right underneath where my feet are now than I am that she's buried anywhere. Really, the only thing I know for sure is that she's not buried beneath the stone. So it feels wrong to only look at and talk about and see the stone, because actually That's the place where she is least likely to be. Anywhere else inside this fence, there is a chance that she is there. But under her stone, there is no chance at all. And that means that the land where her stone was put is the part of this place that is the least related to her. The part of the place where the possibility forecloses. The only certainty that I can have about where she is that it is certain that she is somewhere here. Why would I have gone to the one place I knew she wasn't? And this is all terribly hypocritical to be concerned about this, because even though I know that that stone was not put in a place that had any direct relationship to her, at the same time, it's my stupid tendency to care about objects, and that what I can see does matter, even if it's hollow in some way, and maybe it's not. But although I know the stone is not her, I can't help but know that I still have some things left to say to the stone, even though stone is all it is. And in some way, it is nicer to talk to a stone with her name on it than to have to actually find her. Because I get to pretend. And I get to keep my ethics and my pride. Because I'm not even speaking to her or for her. It's just her name. She is somewhere else. Somewhere else here nearby, but still somewhere else where I can't bother her. Where she does just get to not be dug up and exhumed over and over and over again by me, because I'm the only one who's doing it. And that's not true, but, it is. Unless, of course, I have found her and she is right here. Which would be awful. The bench that I found was also mossy. I didn't really think about it until I'd been sitting there for a couple minutes already. A lot of things are mossy here, but not most things. But the bench was. It seems equally possible, equally likely to me that this today might be the last time I'm ever here. or that I might end up living most of my life very close to this place. This stretch right here is the darkest I've ever seen it here. Not like I know this place super well. It was funny, for a while I couldn't find it again. I had no idea that it was right by all the houses. It's right along the street, and there's just people's homes right here. And I really would have sworn that they weren't here. It's even funnier too, because this little canopy always felt like it was on the margins of the graveyard, but I didn't think that it actually was. Even though I felt that way. I don't think I even thought about the fact that it is literally on the back gate of the entire place. Well, not that there is no back, but it's on a border. The rain starts and stops really fast here. And maybe I'm just making up differences between here and home, but that doesn't seem that familiar. See, in the last 5 seconds, it just got harder. And then harder still. And now it's just coming down. That means alone with these corpses, nations, utopias, grass grows on the tracks, the words decay, on the page, the eyes of women get colder. Goodbye to tomorrow. Status quo. E.L. You came like a princess across the ocean. Cast away to Denmark, escaping from Danzig, on a cargo ship hunted by submarines, visited by bombs. It was like profanity when you put on a pair of glasses next to me in the cinema. Trees wild growing, roots in the waterfront, mud, green, reed. His lordship asks to be executed. He's taking the early train with Schiller. At least you know when it's over. See you soon. Both knowing it's never again. Excuse me, madam. Yesterday on a sunny afternoon. As I drove through the dead city of Berlin, back from some foreign place or other, I felt for the first time the desire to exhume my wife from the cemetery. 2 shovels full I threw on her myself, and to see what's left of her. bones I never saw, to hold her skull in my hands, and to imagine what her face was like behind the masks she wore. Through the dead city of Berlin and other cities when it was still dressed in her flesh. I did not give in to my desire, for fear of the police and the gossip of my friends. I was Hamlet. Stood at the shore and talked to the surf. Blah, blah, ruins of Europe is back with me. Bell told the state funeral. Murderer and widow a couple, the alderman howling in badly paid grief, marching in goose step behind the coffin of the high cadaver. Who is this corpse in the hearse? For whom there's such a scream and curse? It's the corpse of a great soul, giver of alms to all the people as the guard of honor, creation of his statesmanship. He was a man who took all from all. I stopped the funeral. Forced the coffin open with my sword. That's when the blade snapped. I managed with the blunt remains and distributed the dead father. Flesh and flesh keep good company among the wretched creatures hovering around me. Mourning turned to rejoicing, rejoicing and munching. On top of the empty coffin, the murderer mounted the widow. Let me give you a leg up, uncle. Spread your legs, mother. I lay down on the ground and heard the world doing its rounds in step with decay. I'm good, Hamlet. Give me a cause for grief. The whole world to reveal sorrow. Richard III, I, the Prince and King. O my people, what have I done unto thee? Like hump and lugging my heavy brain, second clown in the communist spring. Something is rotten in this age of hope. Let's delve in earth and blow her at the... Comes the ghost who made me. The axe things, so you can keep your hat on. I know you've got one hole too many. I wish my mother had had one less when you were still dressed in flesh. It would have spared me myself. Women should be stitched up, a world without mothers. We could get on with butchering each other in peace and quiet, and with some chance of success when life gets to be too long, or our throats too tight for our screaming. What do you want from me? Are you not satisfied with a state funeral, you old scrounger? Haven't got any blood on your shoes? What do I care about your parts? Just be glad you've got a hook sticking out. You might get to heaven. What are you waiting for? The cocks have been slaughtered. Dawn will not take place anymore. Shall I, because it's customary, stick a piece of steel into the next flesh or into the next, but one for me to hang on because the earth is spinning round? Lord, break my neck in a fall from an alehouse bench. Enter Horatio. Confidant of my thoughts, bloody ever since the morning was draped with the empty sky. You're too late, my friend, to collect your fee. No place for you in my tragedy. Horatio, do you know me? Are you my friend, Horatio? If you do know me, how can you be my friend? Do you want to play Polonius? The one who wants to share his daughter's bed, charming Ophelia. She enters on cue, see her shake her arse, a tragic part. Horatio Polonius. I knew you were an actor. I'm one too. I'm playing Hamlet. Denmark is a prison. A wall is rising between us. Look what's rising from out of the wall. Exit points. My mother, the bride. Her breasts a rosebed, her womb a snake pit. Have you forgotten your lines, mother? I'll prompt you. Wash the murder from your face, my prince, and begin making eyes at the new Denmark. I'll make a version of you once more, mother. so your king can have a bloody wedding. Mother's womb is not a one-way street. Now, I'm going to tie your hands behind your back with your bridal veil, because your embrace makes me puke. Now, I'm going to tear the wedding dress to pieces. Now you have to scream. Now I'm going to daub the rags of your wedding dress with the earth my father has become. Your face, your abdomen, your breasts with the rags. Now I'm going to have you, mother in his, my father's invisible trail. Your screams I'll choke with my lips. You recognize the fruit of your womb? Now go to your wedding, whore, spread out under the Danish sun that shines on the living and the dead alike. I want to stuff the corpse down the bog, so that the palace suffocates in royal shit. Then let me eat your heart, Ophelia, that is crying my tears. I am Ophelia, the one the river didn't keep, the woman dangling from the rope, the woman with slit arteries, the woman with the overdose, snow on her lips, the woman with the head in the gas oven. Yesterday I stopped killing myself. I am alone. With my breasts, my thighs, my womb. I crush the instruments of my captivity. The chair, the table, the bed. I demolish the battlefield that was my home. I tear the doors open to let in the wind and the scream of the world. I smash the window. With my bleeding hands, I rip up the photographs of the men whom I loved, whom I was used by, on the bed, on the table, on the chair, on the floor. I set fire to my prison. I throw my clothes into the fire. I dig the clock that was my heart out of my breast. Go out onto the streets, dressed in blood.
Ja, ich komme morgen früh noch weg. Ja, ja. Okay. Du hast noch angerufen. Du angerufen.
Do you want to eat my heart, Hamlet? I want to be a woman. What thou hast killed, thou shalt not love. Smoke is belching from the stove in a riot-ridden October. The bad cold you had it. It's the worst time. It's the worst time of the year for a revolution. Through the suburbs, cement and gloom walks Dr. Zhivago weeping for his wolves. Sometimes in winter they came to the village and visited peasant. I am not Hamlet. I have no more role to play. My words, nothing more to say to me, not screaming the images of their blood. My drama does not take place anymore. Behind me, a set is being erected by people who aren't interested in the drama. For people whom it doesn't concern. I'm not interested anymore either. I'm not playing anymore. The set is a monument. It shows a man 100 times larger than life who made history. The petrification of hope. His name is interchangeable. The hope is filled. The monument lies on the ground, raised 3 years after the state funeral of the hated and honored one by his successor to power. The stone is inhabited in the spacious nostrils. Hi, buddy. Are you okay? You too. Stone is inhabited. In his spacious nostrils and in cavities, and the wrinkles on the skin. We're here with the bugs. I don't know if anyone else can see it, but there is a little bee that asked me for help. I think what I forgot to think about was that if she isn't here, I am. It's not that there's no one here at her study. It's just that someone happens not to be in her body. But someone is here. I'm here. And I just heard you start to balls again. Maybe the rain is good for him too. I don't think I need to do the rest of this one. It's funny, I've been almost kind of scared to touch the stone, even though obviously I put my hands all over Heiner's. But I put my phone on top of the stone and leaning against the rock that's sitting on it so that I could talk to it. And in a way, that
feels like it should be more disrespectful, if it's disrespectful at all. But that felt easier. She is the camera. She's the typewriter. The squirrels here are red. Was nobody gonna fucking tell me that? Can I zoom on this? Yes. Look at that guy. I know. Okay. Anyway. I think she is the typewriter. I think she's the words that come out of a lot of him. I mean, he said so, like, fine. Okay, duh. But I want to do it again. I'd rather be with you if I kept my mouth shut, where there is no mouth and no stopping. You're an enemy to the old, and are even older than them, hiding in the wrinkles. What do you know? And how? Moon, new moon, your crescent mows our time like grass. We stand upright in the sky on a thin hourglass. The star goes its way. We seek our way. When I lie down, pass over me. As I fetched water, a house fell on me. We carried the house, the forgotten dog and I. Don't ask me how. I don't remember. Ask the dog how. My mother didn't want me. And I didn't want my mother. That's why I have no face until she buries me. I wanted to write. Find colors. Words understand. Love. See. Move on. Who is after me? Love, will you stay? Or will you flee? What is your sign? What will remain? What will suffice? There's a balloon hanging in the room. How long will it hang there? The wire string holds it in the room. The wind will push it away. That I love you will be red, punched in leaves, planted in the sea, written in the wind, when everyone loves. I saw the world in ruins. I had seen nothing of the world yet. I saw death and violence. Before I was young, I was old, and knew with understanding. I learned to recover the dead, learned to carry the drowned, the heavy burden. The half-drowned lay in the way, blocking the river. Thus, I learned to run without rest, and to weep without tears and hate, before love found a way out within me. And there was no living being to stand by me when I fell and rose again and again, because there was still one thing that wouldn't let me down. The thread on which we all hung, we, witnesses, seeds. A thin thread spun from human skin that sang and was called hope and bread and to live on tomorrow. The formula was written in the delicately chiseled plaster face of the dead ferryman and the wide open blind eyes. What runs, I am. What falls, I am too. Battered, I lift my face from filth and earth, again and again. Who helps me? Whom do I help? So, and again, and again, so. I, we, life, our face, earth, filth, light. As long as the muscle on the left moves like this, the wind stirs to gather the sparks from the ashes. Prometheus, wounds and grimaces, lives. My mother didn't want me. She wanted a son. And then I came along. And my brother wasn't buried yet. I feel it. Myself is too small for me. Someone is blowing it up from within. Mother, your son, the world is wonderfully sick. Against this, begin anew. The dead sit knitting along the wall. Outside becomes inside. At the mountaintop, cross and bench. She was always whole. She tore me apart. She gave me names. I forgot the names. Perhaps I will suddenly disappear because there is no more air and the body cannot be found. I'm interested in what someone is like who can walk on his hair and who can wrest such a poem from Mickle and swings his wife who wants a coat across the room and drinks and picks up his broken tooth for others. In short, lives. And when I see you again, I'm sure I'll see you again. I'll sit, a bird above the forest, and sing you my songs. From all the trees, it sings like me. Here we are again. At 33, I was a religious child. My parents were good and hardworking. I became an adult at 39 when the war began. I had heard this and that against Hitler and then for Stalin. I saw. He did something and he let it happen. When it came down to him, my first love was when the war began. And then he went to war. I cried and was a stupid thing, very small in relation to the nation. Before he fell, he came to me, completely torn apart by the killing. I knew nothing better than, please stay here. We did not become happy. In 45, everyone was an old man. I didn't want to live, and I didn't want to die. I saw the inheritance without heirs, and the stakes were the price. Because I had to leave, I went, searching for a reason. And I thought of the trees in the park, and of his tender mouth. Bombs and cannons taught me patience, and to spare the bleeding, and to reflect, what is guilt? Only the sky is the same. Shivering, I count the clouds. Laughing, I lay dead nettles on a stranger's grave as I go home. You cannot carry me, death. I make myself heavy until they come and dig. Until they have me, you go empty. One day, sent by us, the foretold human will come. Show off, you who trample us into the pavement. One of them all. I miss you so much, and think of Hana's splendor. The night wears slippers of animal skin and gold. In boot step marches the day, catching up with our night. If tomorrow morning, in the twilight, the starling cries from the rooftop, your poem and my poem will remain. We and the night are far away.
Wenn ich schon sterben muss, will ich noch einmal mit euch durch den Wald gehen. Und vorbei am See in Lenitz oder irgendwo. Noch einmal möchte ich sehen. Himmel, Berg, Meer, Arbeiter und Landstreicher, Acker und Großbauplatz, Stadt am Morgen und bei Nacht. Den alten Chinesen, der das ABC lernt und das Schreiben an der Hand seines Onkels vom Flugzeug aus sehen, die Haut der Welt, da werd ich will glücklich sein zum Sterben.
Nächste Station mit Nordbahn.
Also anderes Titel. Naja.
Dear Tupa, there's no point in our staying together anymore. I can't live the way you do. I have tried for your sake, and perhaps that was my biggest mistake. To you, I'm just some kind of mascot. And that's why I can't even live alongside you, because that's no life for me. My love, my work, you don't need either of those, or anything else from me, do you? At most, you need all the tension and my capacity for suffering. But you're wrong. I have to get through this and process this on my own. Perhaps I am neither as smart, nor as educated, nor as talented as you. But what I want and what I mean seriously. And I want to live, not just vegetate. I don't want to live at the expense of others. I want to do what I can, and as much as I can, and without a bad conscience. And I need friends by my side whom I trust, and who trust me. T. As you yourself have said, I'm just tormenting you.